Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is Life's Podcast VideoCast with SUJATA and Coach Les. We are here today streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And we are also live on Clubhouse. And the great thing about it is we're creating a podcast and have been working on a podcast for the past 6 months. And the idea behind this podcast is to open the door to putting two talents together. My podcast partner is SUJATA, who's accumulated a wealth of experience during her life, leading to insights and knowledge that cannot be coached or taught in a class. She is a mother, a wife, a journalist, a consultant, an activist, a leader, and a businesswoman domestically and internationally. In sharing her story, SUJATA strives to provide readers of all backgrounds in any part of the world with real life examples on how to deal with the unpredictable nature of everyday life. And she and I have teamed up to create this amazing podcast and working hand in hand along with people on stage with Clubhouse, so that we can actually bring together a combination that incorporates many different philosophies, many different people's point of view. And this afternoon, this evening, this morning, wherever you're located around the world, we have taken on the conversation today of why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it? Sharing the areas of training and development that are pertinent to today's business, faith, and family, and speaking about all of those areas through the filters of communications integrity. So with that, I want to hand the microphone to SUJATA to say hello and check in. And I'd love to hear what she has to say about why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good evening.
So I would say that, when you're in a depressed state, or you're in a state where you have nothing much to lose, but you have everything to gain, and you have a survivor's instinct, that's when you step out of the box in your survival mode and start becoming an entrepreneur, because you can't just depend always on the structured format of being in a 9-to-5 job, say, for example, which is fast disappearing, or is not always available these days for many people, even if they may be qualified or not. So when you have to pay the bills and you have to live the life, then what do? Then I think that spirit prods you and makes you to go forward and reinvent yourself, and entrepreneurship is born. Does it make sense?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing, SUJATA. And with that, I am going to pass it to Sister Jeanette. Why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it, Jeanette?
I like this question. I work at a college, and I will tell you that innovation, there's several factors going on right now. Because of the pandemic, innovation has propelled itself forward so fast that people are coming up with their own businesses. They're coming with their own markets. They're looking for niches that they can capitalize on. I think you didn't have that forward thinking before the pandemic. They're just taking their time, filling the waters, but now they're like ready to go. The other thing that I want to throw out there is that, I'm getting ready to look at corporate financials. I want to see, and if you're an entrepreneur, this is excellent to look at because you want to see where you can gain the market from the corporations, and here's why. The pandemic has created some things that we've never seen before. What's going on in the market, and I was looking at some of the profitability that I want to look at, see where these big companies are making their money, because they're making a lot of money, and I need to see why. How are they making so much money, and we're in this recession? Are they just capitalizing on us versus really being fair and equitable in the market? Because if they aren't, that's a great opportunity as an entrepreneur to find a way to take that market away from the corporations, because that would create the mindset that people say, hey, if they're making a profit off of us telling us that the costs are higher and they aren't, and their profits are so high, we want to question that. Say, hey, let's help the little guy. Maybe that's going to be a great opportunity for the entrepreneurs to rewrite the way business is done, to look at that. So I want to look at those corporate financials. I want to see what's going on in there. Where are they making their money? How are they making their money? What cuts they're making? Because all of that is a lot for the publicly traded companies. You can get that information there. You can find. So yes, I'd like to hear some more shares. There's information out there. There's some information for you. So, I want to look at those financials and see what's going on. And if they aren't making that much money, and you're not an entrepreneur, and you want to find that niche, hey, you may find it, by looking at how you can take that market away from the corporations and have good, fair, equitable overhead for everybody, whether for your consumers and your business. There's some great opportunity forward thinking there. And I'll pass the mic back to you.
Awesome. And Jeanette, I think something happened to your microphone because you suddenly got quiet. You were beautifully a little more loud at the beginning, and then towards the end, you got quiet. So I'm just wondering if it slipped from your headset to your phone, and that's why it went quiet on us.
It did. I hit a dead spot, and so my AirPods went out. So that's what happened.
Got it. Okay. I think Sujata, did you hear everything okay?
Yeah, I heard everything okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to pass the mic to Chris. How are you doing today, Chris? Why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it?
Well, that comes down to greed, because that's the first and foremost thing, that an entrepreneur is not necessarily trying to build up his employees or her employees as much as they're trying to get. They want more out of life. They feel like and it comes down to a lot in entitlement. People take advantage in a depressed state. So greed is what causes it. But if you're fixing the need, then that will sustain it.
Woo! Thank you. And with that, I love what John Germain wrote on from LinkedIn. He said, so why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it? He put one word: necessity. I love it because at the cleanest point, that's about as, clear as it gets. So Chris on Clubhouse gave a stinky face, John. A smile with his tongue sticking out. It's hilarious. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to modern day disciple Maria Davila. How are you, Maria?
Hello, I'm here. I am doing well, thank you.
Good to see you.
I'm just here for the day. I was out on a mission field for 15 days and just needed one day to decompress, and I'm going back tomorrow. I'm happy to be here. I just needed some pouring into today and jumped on Clubhouse when I saw you. I know you're always pouring into us. As far as the question, in a depressed state, why do we see so many entrepreneurs? I just think, I have to agree with what Suhata said. Some people are desperate, tired of working paycheck to paycheck, or they have, a strong purpose behind it, or vision, or something they're trying to go after. Like for me, I work and started my cleaning business to give me the funding I need to do the work that I'm doing on the mission field. And how do you, when you talk about capitalizing, maybe I misunderstood because I heard a lot of different answers. When I think of that, I think of growth.
Yes.
To capitalize your business and grow the business. And I think the best way to do it is, if you have a reason for what you're doing and there's a purpose behind it, I always stress enough, have your mission, your vision, and your values, and know what they are. And when you have those, you have a story. And, there's a lot of people that you would never imagine can relate. And I think that's the best way to grow a business, is to share your story and have that story and stick with it. And so business owners are very successful when they're very consistent with what they're doing and focused on that.
I love it. Thank you so much, Maria. And it's good to see you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Les.
And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to one of my favorite people, Sulina.
Hello, Coach Les, and great evening to each and every one of you guys. Jeanette, Sujata, Chris, Maria. It's great to see you, Maria. And I just kind of came in on the conversation, but I came in when Jeanette was sharing, and then what Chris said, as well as Maria. And I agree totally on all the things that was said. I think when you come from a place of it being, like Maria said, you have your mission, your vision, your values, and you really tell people your story, they can really tune into that and know that this is not just coming from a place of, how to put it, just looking to capitalize, but it's more so looking to make an impact in the marketplace. And by making that impact, then yes, you benefit and you thrive, but really and truly coming from that place of being consistent and making an impact in the marketplace. So that's my input. And I thank you so very much for holding the space. And back over to you, Coach Les.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Selena. And I just want to do a quick shout out. Hello to Truth Ministries. Hello to Emmanuel McKinday. And also hello to Ivy Monroe. Thank you for being here. And once again, why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it? Well, consider this. In a depressed market, the thing that happens in big corporate America, they go through a culling and they thin the herd. And usually they take, and I don't mean any insults by this, I just mean it to be kind of straightforward in communication. They take the fat cats right off the top. And what that is, the people that may have been there a long time, that are earning big money, and it's the quickest way to save a lot of money is to get rid of that big chunk up at the top. And for me, in so doing that, as those people in that point have been in business a long time, and I can promise you, they've always had ideas in their minds, always had entrepreneurial endeavors in their mind, and some may have even tried it. Some may have even started some companies, and nothing had really taken ground, so to speak. And the opportunity with that for me has been to look and see what is a problem that I know I can solve, and I can solve it as well or better than anybody out there. And I can create a pricing structure that makes me comfortable, that is a service to society, and something that people may want to come along and learn and parallel along with. So with that, it for me, it has occurred as this is the best time to step out, take that leap of faith, go out onto the skinny branches and create something. Because at the same time as we know that we can create a small business, and we know that we can find a niche, and we can find an affordable, a much more affordable way to either do it or be it, that is an opportunity to level up across the world. So that's the big thing for me is, all right, so what have you thought about in entrepreneurial endeavors? Do you see that the value in starting it in a depressed market? Do you see the opportunity?
I do. I see opportunity, not only to grow, but to help others as well. Like for me personally, I try to be very competitive for my employees and pay them more than what other agencies are paying. I also, I work out a lot of deals with other business owners, and we collaborate. So, for example, if there's a contractor doing construction, I have a very good relationship, and they call us because they know we're reliable, and we can really count on them to keep giving us the business. It's, your network is your net worth. I've heard that over and over on here, especially. So there's definitely opportunity, and it's not always, it's not always great. When you have purpose behind what you're doing and you make it purposeful to benefit others, it just opens so many doors of opportunity for one to grow.
I like it. Thank you so much. Jeanette, you want to jump in?
One of the things you mentioned about, companies skim from the top. What happened with the pandemic is a lot of people said, I don't need to work this much. I may as well just be in business for myself, when they realized how much time they gave to their companies. So, before companies would skim from the top, well, people had already started leaving. So it was a different dynamic. So what's interesting is, they came up with those ideas. That's why innovation has propelled so forward so fast, quickly in the last 2 years. And so there's so many opportunities, so many. You look at the service industry, you can take that away from corporations. For me, yes, I have several areas that I can go into, start my own services. That's there, you know, and there's been some requests from me and trying to recruit me. So that's a compliment, because, you know, that tells me they value my work. But for others, there's so much opportunity. Whatever their expertise in, they're proficient in, there's many opportunities just to take whatever you have, create a service or business to provide it. It is the best opportunity right now. And of course, to take away from, you know, big corporations, to do that at a local level is even probably more advantageous, because the smaller companies, local businesses can't wait around for the corporations anymore while they try to scramble for workforce. So there is great opportunity and value in jumping in that entrepreneurship right now, even more. So, you know, I would encourage it. I would encourage you to look at it, take that opportunity, you know, work for yourself is always a great opportunity. So yes, this is a good time. This is definitely a good time. Thank you.
I like what you said, Jeanette, about the pandemic, and a lot of people, they started working from home, and I think they realized what they were missing as well. You know, that independence, the freedom, and the time they have with their families that they didn't have before. A lot of children were homeschooled, and I think that created more bonds. And when everything opened up again, a lot of people weren't ready to just go back and, you know, have someone else control that time. So I think that also birthed a whole new wave of entrepreneurs in it, you know, in a depressed state.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, and there's so many resources available for anyone that is starting their small business, and it's free. You know, Coach Les talks about them all the time. So I'll let him share what those services are out there that help small businesses. And some of those resources, actually, if you have a product that you have that has an international market, there's even resources to help you get it across the ponds to the different countries. So take advantage of those resources. They're available. And I'll let Coach knows which ones they are. And I'll let you share them, Coach, because I'm driving.
No worries. Thank you. I'm just in the back of the room here, just putting some stuff out to Clubhouse and to Twitter about the room. So if you have a pen and paper, I'd love to share with you, each and every one of you, an organization called SCORE, SCORE.org. Very easy to remember. And, you know, the other thing to do is, you know, on this app, there's a lot of rooms where some people are doing coaching. They're supporting Christian faith. They're answering questions. They're doing summits to make sure that we don't. Go ahead. I thought I saw somebody flash their mic. Sorry. I'm going to take a quick moment on this pause here for me to shut up and say, hi, Truth. How are you, Truth? Truth, are you able to come off mic? The way you come off mic, I know you're new, is to hit that little microphone in the lower right-hand corner of your telephone screen. There's a little microphone looking, and if you just touch it, it will take you off of the microphone app. All right. Sujata, anything you want to jump in and share?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Can I share, Coach?
I would love it, Selena. Thank you so much for coming to my rescue. I mean, I appreciate it, Selena, because I mean, can I speak for 45 minutes and do this whole show myself? Sure, I can. I'm interested in the variety. It's not about, this isn't, yes, it says Coach Les and Sujata on the video podcast, but my goal is to get other people's opinions out too, because that's how we all rise. So thank you, Selena. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So what I wanted to share as well is some other resources also. SCORE is great. Another one is also the Small Business Administration. That's another resource. And then you also have a number, like there's the Small Business Expo. There's also the, like, let's say a lot of times your local chamber of commerce has a lot of information as well that they can give you. There's grants that's available, especially if you are a small business owner and you have employees. So if you have employees, they actually have a program right now where they are paying, if you have up to 4 employees, I think it is, that they're paying you for those employees. They're paying the wages of those employees for, I think, 2020 through 2024. I think it's for four years. So there's a number of resources out there, definitely, that I would encourage. SCORE is great, like Coach Les says, the Small Business Administration, and then you can look locally as well, within your local market, where they would have Truist Bank is another bank who were giving out a number of different grants to small business owners as well.
Nice.
And especially if it is that you have employees. So I encourage people to really look into that and take advantage. Over to you, Coach Les.
Awesome, Selena. Thank you. Go ahead, Jeanette. I see you came off mute.
Yes, those are all great resources. Another resource, if you have it, they encourage women to start their businesses.
Woo,
so
yes.
There's another group called TED Women's Business Organization. See if there's one in your area, and they will help women to start their businesses. What I want to add to the SCORE organization is SCORE is made up of many people that have been successful in business that are available to mentor you in your business. You know, if you've ever seen what's that show, Shark
Tank.
Shark Tank, yes. So they're trying to vie for those wealthy entrepreneurs to be their mentors, right? Well, SCORE has these mentors. You don't have to go on Shark, right? You don't have to go on there, but you can go to SCORE and ask them to pair you with a mentor, someone that has either done your business or has information on the business you want to start, and they will pair you with that. Not only does SCORE do that, they also have training on how to on marketing, on how to market your business in social media, on branding, all these things that you may not be proficient in, but they have these courses. In most areas, it's free. In other areas, there might be a small fee to cover for materials, but it's very small. And also to manage your books, your financial systems, they do the training for QuickBooks for business owners to learn QuickBooks at a very low cost, or in some areas, it's free because they have grants to pay for the cost. So look at the resources in your area to see what you can take advantage. The other thing with the Small Business Association, yes, they have grants, but they also have resources for you on, like I said, when you have a niche in the international market, they have resources available to you to get your product in the international markets. Also look in your area, just as Selena said, that they may have summits or small business conferences in your counties, and they don't advertise it, because if they did, it would, there'd be a line around the block. You just have to be on top of it to know when they have it. Or if you are a member of your Chamber of Commerce, they may have the information and put you on the mailing list. So when they do have those events, you will be invited for, you get the information. What do they do there? They bring all the resources that we mentioned right now, the SCORE, the TED Women, the Small Business Association, the International Commerce. They'll have all those people from all those sources in one place to help you get started. But because you're listening to the podcast, you'll be ahead of them, and you can go look it up yourself and start the work. So there's some information for you.
Thank you so much, Sister Jeanette. Chris, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I was talking in the back channel there. SCORE is a good mentorship. I have met a few attorneys and stuff that, took their expertise, and here they are. A lot of them are in the retiring stages, but to turn around and give their time to help, mentor you along through your business, and they lead you in the right direction. So I do agree with that. And, some of the Small Business Administration has a few of those people as well, but they have to believe in your product, in your business, to make that happen for you. But there's so many out there. So I just encourage people, be the most you can possibly be, and achieve greatness, because you're all wonderful. And I can't wait to see what the next invention you come up with is.
Woo woo. Love it. Thank you so much, Chris. All right, Modern, we're coming to you. I see the flash of the heart.
Yes, sir. I'm not sure what to say. I think I maybe missed the next question, because I heard everyone talking, but I'm not sure what the question was. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you beautifully.
What was the question, sir?
So inside of the last conversation, and just sharing, what do you see for yourself in the growth and development of,
Oh, geez. Les, my heart is doing working in a nonprofit, and the missions and the growth, like every mission, it's just our efforts are growing. So right now, it started out with just a food drive and collecting food for people, and the more volunteers we get, the more networking that we do. the more work we're able to do. For example, Chris, who's in the room, and I are planning to bring a tiny home to a senior couple in Pine Island, Florida. They're living in very, very, very bad conditions. So, God bless the networking and meeting great people like on Clubhouse. I didn't meet Chris here. We've been friends for a few years. He's actually the one who introduced me to Clubhouse. But I just, again, staying consistent and knowing what your mission, vision, and values are is very important. And standing on that foundation is very important. And, people recognize it, and people who are in agreement with what you're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship or nonprofit, everyone has a purpose for what they're doing. We all have different gifts that we use for our businesses, for, like me, the mission work, and, whatever it is that someone's after.
She's actually down in Florida right now, and she had set up a medical tent to give out supplies. And she's so humble. Her tent got destroyed by a tornado a couple of days ago. So she's here to empower others, and that's what you need to understand is because you'll come across diversity doesn't mean quit. It means that you figure out the way to get around it. And she has done that. She's amazing, and I just want to give her a little bit of thanks because she's doing some amazing work right now where she is, and she is awesome. She goes, but she's where she's needed. And when she brought this situation that's going on, to my attention, it was about how that family reacted, how that lady reacted. And when she found out that she didn't have any legs, these are things that she saw a smile on that woman's face because what she was getting was a true thank you. So if you can go in business and get a true thank you when you're done servicing whoever it is, you've got a great business.
Thank you. And I am in South Florida, and I just want to thank you for doing that for that couple. Thank you.
Where in South Florida are you, Jeanette? Are you close to Pine Island?
No, I'm on the East Coast. But I was working with the EOC for 7 years, so I know the kind of recovery effort they're under right now. And any assistance, anything to better their lives is appreciated.
Yes, the EOC has been very difficult. We were told we had a mission number, which when we arrived, we never received it. So, like the grants the governor collected or the funding is going to organizations that have that mission number. And a lot of them have already left, which is very sad because I've been there for 15 days. And my first day there, I slept in a truck. The second day and the third day, I slept in a container. And then I finally found a church that was housing volunteers. So it's been very rough, but, every day it just keeps getting better. Like we lost our medical tent in a tornado, but then, somebody heard and they showed up with an RV. So they're bringing it back, tomorrow to help us, with the medical piece of the mission that we're doing. So it's been an adventure.
Yeah, we heard about the funds being diverted by the governor. So that you're still there and working to help, that's to be commended. So thank you for that. And that takes an entrepreneurial mind to be able to remedy and overcome any limitations that occur. So that's appreciated. That's an entrepreneur mind in the nonprofit world that can come up with the remedies and still take care of people that are displaced. So that tells you that we do have that entrepreneur mind thinking, even in the nonprofit sector, and it's amazing. It is amazing. So that Coach Les and Sujata, that you brought up entrepreneur, and I mean, we could cover all aspects of it and how there's so many great opportunities, even in the nonprofit world, to have that mindset, to have that forward thinking. There's so many possibilities. So thank you for bringing the topic. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this discussion and realized how much there is in that entrepreneurial thinking. So thank you. I give it back to you.
You are welcome. Thank you so much. And I want to welcome Pamela to the stage. Hi, Pamela. How are you today?
Hello, Coach. I'm, can't complain.
Excellent.
Yeah, I cannot complain.
So the question today is, why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how can we capitalize on it?
Well, I think because when a society is depressed, when people are depressed, they, I have a difference. I'm not polarized with this subject because I'm seeing greed. I'm seeing a lot of greed, and maybe because of where I live right now, the circumstances, the devastation that I see a lot of greed. I don't see entrepreneurship. I see people wanting to profit off of other people's failures and tragic circumstances. So with that being said, I'm going to rest my mic. Thank you.
Well, there's that underlying word that keeps coming forward, greed, right? That is one of the underlying greed, literally, because I'm seeing things in the markets right now where corporations are making millions, and we're paying for it. They're charging us. It looks like they're telling us that everything's gone up, but yet their profits tell something different. And that's where my research is going to lie. And that's where people can take advantage of this entrepreneurship and do the research that I'm getting ready to do, saying, hey, are they really making that much profit? Why? And looking at their financials. And that would open up the door for their minds to see it is possible. I can compete with the big ones, big companies, because who wants to be taken advantage of from the big corporations? And then for us to say, you know what? We have to go back to that basic consumerism of supporting the small businesses. Imagine that opportunity. Imagine that possibility. So that's what comes to mind when every greed comes up. That just hits that part of it, where maybe it's time to support the small businesses now because the corporations are taking advantage of us. Let's do the research and as those entrepreneurs, you're ready, get ready and see how you can compete with those companies. I pass the mic back to you, Coach.
Thank you so much, Sister Jeanette. And I'm going to throw a quick ball over here to Chris. Chris, anything else you want to add?
Well, I think there was a lot of great information for people that do want to become entrepreneurs. I do suggest that, if there's something that you need help with that would be more in a research study, check out your colleges, because there's students that need community service that are more than willing to work on projects. They also have the internships. So if you might have a business that you just started and you might need some extra help that would have experience in something you don't have, don't hesitate to reach out, because those young adults do need that experience. They do need to put that time in, but it's also a lot of every college I've known so far, it's a mandatory thing that they do this for the community. So take advantage of that, and not necessarily at an advantage, but utilize them. And that way you don't feel like you used anybody.
I love it. Thank you, sir. All right. So here's my next question. In this space, is it time for you to go and borrow finances?
Is that an open mic? Or are we going in order? Or
Yeah, no, go for it. It's up to you. Over to you. That's all. And we're just, if you're done, we'll move on. But I just wanted, it's all pop up right now because everybody's gone once.
Okay. I wasn't trying to jump in front of no ladies, because I will most definitely step to the side. But repeat that question one more time, so my comment will come fresh to me.
So we're just, I just want to look and see, is this a time to now invest? If we're already an entrepreneur, is now a good time to invest into your business? And if so, why?
I would definitely say if you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, then you always want to invest in your business.
Touche. Okay, touche.
Now, do I think it's time to be buying and borrowing money? Interest rates are too high. If we all stood down for 30 days and didn't borrow anything, they would drop them. So we can make a difference by being the difference. So you want to be the change you want to see, but definitely, as far as an entrepreneur, you're always going to invest in your business. And the more you can learn by paying attention to the people around you, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, because you can get their education by paying attention. It's the only free thing in life you're going to get, but you have free will and you're going to do with what you get out of it. But if someone can speak and it didn't cost you anything, how many thousands did they earn you by you paying attention?
I like it. I like it.
I agree with Chris. Anytime, you always want to be investing in your business, always. Whether it's with time, money, with profits, just keep putting it back in there. Keep growing, stay focused on growing. Don't ever let that momentum stop, because there's always marketing. There's always something that needs money. And as far as taking loans, definitely do your homework and have a game plan. So, when you do your business plan, you always have to update it. You don't just do your business plan once. You always have to go back and reflect and see what changes need to be made in that plan. Do more market analysis, profit analysis. It's nonstop. Being a business owner is not something you just start. Okay, I'm going to go clean a restaurant, and that's it. I don't have to worry about nothing else. No, you have payroll, you have taxes, so you always want to be on top of your game and always paying attention to the different changes in the laws and inflation and gas prices. So it's so important to stay on top of that, including interest rates with loans. But also, when you're doing your research, look at what loans are available that have low interest rates. Like SBA loans, they have a lot of opportunity right now for everyone, not just minorities and women, but for everyone. They it's almost like they're encouraging us even though we pay more taxes than the big corporations, small business, brick and mortars, and self-employed. But there are opportunities out there to grow.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm going to invite Taylor and Magic Brad up and Jonathan up. I also want to just do a quick shout out to Pamela. She wrote in the room chat, I'm just outside of Tampa. Little tornadoes were chatting outside of Ian. Greed and pride, the enemy's playthings. And Pamela Johnson said, in this country, there are so many free resources, libraries, even YouTube offers free counseling and coaching. Yeah, we had mentioned earlier too, Pamela, was SCORE. SCORE is a phenomenal organization, which is completely free. And here's the thing that I wanted to mention. This is why I specifically asked about people, you know, do you invest more in your business? Do you go and get loans and invest back? Well, one of the key things is there are grants available right now that are fruitful and available for minority segments of the population. And they are available to the point of being, 95% doable for most people. And I think they're phenomenal. And if you're unsure, go to your community centers, go to your local government and ask, hey, do we have any? I mean, we had somebody come and visit a networking group that I belonged to, and I got into a chat with them. And this was a few years ago, back in 2017. And we were just chatting along. And I said, "What do you have any grants available for small business?" And she goes, "Yeah, do you need, what do you need?" And I said, "Well, what kind of grants?" She goes, "Oh, I could probably get you $1,000, $2,000. I said, "Really?" And she goes, oh yeah. So she sets me up and I get $2,000. I added $400 to it and I got a computer that I still have. Holy Toledo. So with that, there's two new people up on stage. So I'd love to ask them the original question and hear their fresh perspective. Since it's a lady and a gentleman, I'm going to go with the lady first. And that is, why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market and how do we capitalize on it? Janine, it's over to you.
Thank you. The first thing that comes to mind is individualism, like our individual qualities and who we are as men and women and what we bring to the table, and like what we've been blessed with and what we're able to explore for ourselves and then be able to share. So that is basically what I think of right away. I just got here, so I'd love to hear more before contributing too much more, but that's my short answer. Thank you.
Love it.
Did I fully answer the question? Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah.
So I hear that full question.
Of course. I never have a problem repeating the question. Why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market? And how do we capitalize on it?
Yeah, so then to like build from there, then what happens is if it's a depressed market and businesses are failing, there's more of a need in the community for people to step up to fulfill those needs. So that's like a very complicated question. I think it's like 3 deep, but yeah. So that's where I would go with it then.
Hey, Janine, I had to come up with something for 45 minutes for an hour-long podcast.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a complicated question because it goes pretty deep. Yeah, is it in the chat too?
I don't.
Because I want to think about it even more. So
I don't. Did I put it in the chat? No, I will do it. I'll do it right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. And
You're
then,
welcome.
Otherwise, I just want to pass it back to you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to take it and pass it to Brad. Welcome, Brad. How are you, sir?
Good day. I'm doing well. How are you?
Phenomenal. Thank you for being here.
Certainly. I see your things pop up and then I just get distracted. But I'm here now.
All right. Well, the mic is yours. What do you think about my question? And what thoughts do you have?
Well, I think maybe in like a depressed situation, the bigger companies have to let people go. And then people might start their own thing. So entrepreneurship might grow that way. Also, perhaps people might be depressed and frustrated with their 9-to-5 gig. And they might decide that I'm going to go do my own thing. So I think it might be that. That might be part of the reason why it rises. And then maybe it just gets more attention because of the media just calls attention to it. So maybe you don't really notice it rising. It really isn't rising, but there's more attention brought to it. So you might hear more about it. And as far as capitalizing on it, I think being an entrepreneur, we're much more agile, and it's not like a big ship. It takes a lot of time to move a big ship, and people are trying to figure out what to do with the big corporate. Whereas a little guy can really innovate. Like where I am here over in Fridley, Minnesota, which is just north of Minneapolis, there's a restaurant called Crooners. It's a bar, restaurant, music hall kind of thing.
Oh, yes. I know it well.
Yeah. And what she did was when COVID happened, first thing she did was she cleared out part of her back area and put up a tent. And then she created 3 different tiers of pricing where you had VIP seating. So everybody was socially distanced, and they had VIP. So that was high ticket stuff in the front. Then they had back in the back where it was a little cheaper price, but they were still socially distanced. And then she had a 3rd tier where they could listen to the music in their car, like a drive-in. So she didn't lose much of a step when the COVID thing happened. She just kept on going, playing the music. So being a small business like that, you don't have to have a bunch of meetings and have things okayed and research and all that. You just do it. So those are my thoughts.
I love it. Thank you so much. I think some great examples from COVID. Now, and here's the thing, Brad, what I love about what you said too, by the way, is yes, perfect. Pamela says, bottom line is she adapted and adjusted 100%. Here's the interesting thing though. We could be doing that right now as if COVID had just happened and be looking, adapting, adjusting, growing. Even though we're not dealing with a pandemic, in a recession, if we're getting creative, that same creativity, Brad, would do beautifully right now for people that now that we're dealing with a recession, especially the fact that what you just said, they created 3 tiers of pricing. Now, something even to add to what you said, what if she put a screen up? A lot of places, a lot of cities, I know Champlin painted the side of the movie theater white because the city is a part owner in the movie theater, and they were doing drive-in movies.
Oh, well, that's the thing I was thinking about doing here in Fridley, right next to Crooners is the beach.
Yep.
And the lake, Moore Lake, it's kind of tainted, so it's not swimming and they're not using it. And I thought, what the heck? Why don't they put a little coffee cart there in the morning and people can drive right through the parking lot and get their morning coffee, then hit 694 and head to work. And then at night, get one of those inflatable movie screens that you can rent.
Yes.
And play the movies and fill the parking lot with movies. So why not take advantage of it?
Yeah. Or she could, the gal at Crooners could do it and put a video of the band, right?
Yeah.
And stick the video feed right out there. So, I mean,
and then you could even throw up cameras and start live streaming it and start reaching a global audience.
Exactly. Now,
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at Eagle Brook Church. Eagle Brook Church was 5 years ahead of the plan. And then when the pandemic hit, boom, they were ready. They were moving. They already had state-of-the-art equipment. It was wham. And if you had just at this past week's sermon, they were talking about something that, I mean, look at me. I and us on 24-hour Bible study, we're live streaming the Eagle Brook service right into Clubhouse. And there are people around the country that are popping up in the bar on first thing on Sunday morning. The owner is, quote unquote, they're Christian, and they've thought of what a great idea. They put in a big screen TV. They've brought out coffee and donuts, and people are going in and meeting there for church. Then they close down at 10:30 and get ready and flip and open up for brunch. I mean, what a phenomenal idea. I mean, talk about capitalizing on your space, looking to see, I created extra pricing. As soon as I heard about this recession, I've created 2 other tiers of pricing for my coaching. I said, you know what? Everybody's really busy. What if I gave a half hour a week to somebody? Or if they didn't want a half hour a week, they could combine it and do 1 hour every other week. So I did that, and I cut my price in half. And then I went, you know what? Some people just want an accountability coach and occasionally ask some intense questions. So I cut that in half and said, all right, 15 minutes a week or 30 minutes every other week, and you can move and change it. I mean, it's been great. It's the fastest I've gained clients since I started coaching. So I think that's the piece that I'm super excited. And thanks for sharing that, Magic. Magic Brad, I appreciate that. And Magic Brad also, hold on one second, Jeanette, before I let him go. Magic Brad, haven't you been able to do some of your work because of the pandemic, set up your cameras and do some of your work online live?
I have. I do some magical entertainment via the video, but also the trade show that I produce. I wasn't able to do it these last 2 years. So instead of selling exhibit space, I created a membership element. And that way I could continue to promote my exhibitors through the pandemic situation. And then I'm giving them complimentary exhibit space in the show that we're doing in March. And that way they don't leave me. And I keep on promoting. I just did stuff on social media and postcard mailings and email and all that stuff. So you can just figure out another way. There's always another way.
Yeah. And I think with the recession and with the pandemic, I think what happens is the creative entrepreneur gets extra creative.
Well, if you get creative enough where you can serve 2 people for half price, you don't lose anything.
Yep.
You just got to you got to automate and delegate. And, we've only got a limited amount of time in the day. So if you can figure out a way of automating it, like some of my social media stuff is hooked up with that, if this, then that, so that it's set up with the weather. So when the sun comes out, it'll send out a tweet. If the sun gets covered by clouds, it'll send something to LinkedIn. And that way I don't have to do it. The weather does it.
It's awesome. Awesome. Jeanette, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, when you were talking, I thought of something else that occurred too. During the pandemic, we have a lot of small businesses in my town. It's a very social town. And they use the Nextdoor app to make sure that we all knew which businesses were not being visited or purchases. And they wanted to make sure that the businesses didn't fail. So they would send messages through Nextdoor marketing. Hey, telling them that, hey, go visit them, go and buy ice cream from this new business, or hey, smokehouse, they'll take orders for your to prepare the meat the way you want it, and just drive up and go home and make your own meal. But don't stop buying your barbecue meat. Just go there and they'll prepare it for you. And all these different ways that they advertise for the small businesses during the pandemic, so that we would all go out there and visit the vendors or the businesses so that they didn't fail. And so they did a really good job of that, where our neighboring towns had a lot of businesses close. We didn't have as many.
That's like those flash mobs. They created a thing called a cash mob, where a big group of people would agree, we're going to go into this restaurant and all order dinner. So they get together as a crowd and go in there and patronize.
Yeah, they did a great job of using Nextdoor app. It was awesome the way they did it. Yeah, and those type of opportunities are still there, because when they realized they could support their local businesses, that just helped with the marketing for our small business owners here in our town. That makes it even better for them to come to our city and have their businesses. Great opportunity all the way around.
Awesome. And I see James popped up on stage, so I'd love to pass. He just got a phone call. All right. The Janine just let people know she's gonna screenshot the question, and she had to run, so she said thank you, just to let people know. The other one is alignable. I just had a person share with me, was on the Happy Neighborhood Project B2B today, which is business to business. It's the whole country. And usually there's anywhere from 40 to 50 people in the room. And it's at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and it's exactly an hour. And one of the person that I'm a host, a co-host, and then the actual host was sharing that Alignable is where he's getting about 80% of his business right now. Yep, exactly, Pamela. Pamela threw it in the room chat for everybody. So that's another one. So I think and I was listening to a podcast the other day about social media, and the gentleman that was running it said, if you're on social media, then you need to be in 10 sites. If you're going to do it, you may as well be in 10 sites. Just cut and paste and bring the information to the others. But to wait, he goes, if you're sticking your toe in the water, if you're just doing one or two, the big ones, he said, take on 10 social medias. And he included Nextdoor and Alignable in that calling that social media. So I think it's a great idea. Anyway, that's
the marketing. They made it easier for the marketing.
Yep. All right. Well, it looks like James is stuck on the phone. I think this is a good start to the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What do you think, Sujata?
It's perfect.
And you will have to excuse me a moment. This is one of the people that is works with my wife. Take over, please, Sujata. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi. I don't know who I am.
Yes, yep.
Sujata,
Yes, I'm here. I'm just thinking on all the shares that I heard, and
Sujata, are you there?
Yeah, yes, can't you hear me?
Your mic is on.
No, I'm on StreamYard. My mic is on, so can't you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Janet?
So the question of the room today is, why does entrepreneurship rise in a depressed market, and how do we capitalize on it? That's the
But Janet, can you hear me?
I think for some reason.
Hello? Can you all hear me?
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
There seems to be a lot of echo in StreamYard, when even though I mute myself there and I speak here, so I'm not sure what's going on.
You're coming in loud and clear.
So as an entrepreneur myself, I just wanted to share that, times, good or bad, they actually create a situation where if you have the entrepreneurship spirit in you, you would definitely, come out of the box, or you would do it naturally because it's there in your DNA, which I have seen through my life experience. And lately, because of the pandemic, when everything was online, we had the Singapore International Chamber of Commerce tying up with the Design Confederation in Singapore to have a pilot project of mentorship, where a group of select mentees from the Design Confederation tied up with the chambers, with their members being the mentors. And that, I think, is a very good start. And it was something new.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
We've increased our sales by about 33%, blowing all of our goals out of the water.
In my first 6 months, I actually grew my business with his help over 500%. Literally 500%.
Les Hill is the type of person that invests back in you and back into your company. So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.